Have you ever thought of becoming a cybersecurity professional? According to Cybercrime magazine, cybercrime is expected to reach an all-time high of $10.5 trillion in losses by the year 2025. At the same time, there is a staggering number of unfilled vacancies for cybersecurity-related positions. Robert Herjavec, founder and CEO of the Herjavec Group and one of the sharks on ABC's Shark Tank television show, described the situation as follows. If you know cybersecurity, then you have a job for life. One of the common entry-level positions in the cybersecurity industry is that of a cybersecurity analyst, or a SOC analyst. If the term SOC, or Security Operations Center, is new to you, or you would like to know in more detail, what does a Security Operations Center do? We have a video covering that topic in detail. You can find the link in the description. Cybersecurity analysts are typically hired to work in a security operations center. They are part of the operative team that handles all the alerts and incidents that are triggered. The responsibilities of Tier 1 and Tier 2 cybersecurity analysts are sixfold: triaging, investigating, escalating, remediating, reporting, and alert prevention. When an alert or incident is triggered, an initial investigation, also known as triage, is performed. Triage is actually a medical term used for prioritizing treatment in situations where urgent care is needed, and a quick but accurate assessment must be made about which patients need treatment most urgently. In the context of a security operations center, triage is an initial investigation that has a twofold purpose. Number one, triage separates incidents into those that require further analysis and those that do not. Number two, triage prioritizes incidents based on the potential harm that they may cause and assigns a priority classification to them, such as informational, low, medium, high, critical, major, or catastrophic. If no clear indication of malicious activity exists, a determination should be made whether the activity is anomalous. This procedure is typically handled by Tier 1 junior cybersecurity analysts. In each case, a clear and concise summary of the incident triage should be written, and the following questions should be answered. What has happened? What conclusion has been reached? What evidence can be presented to support this conclusion? And does the incident require a further analysis? The note should also contain a sufficient amount of technical information, such as timestamp information, endpoint ID, operating system and version numbers, source and destination IP addresses and port numbers, MAC addresses, and so on and so forth. The primary responsibility of a Tier 2 cybersecurity analyst is to investigate the incidents received from the first tier. Based on the incident data and the summary, the Tier 2 analyst will be able to evaluate whether a correct conclusion was reached. If the incident merits further attention, the Tier 2 cybersecurity analyst will drill down and attempt to find the root cause of the incident. This often requires accessing additional data sources or performing advanced query searches to uncover details that were not present on the alert. Open source intelligence can also be leveraged to supplement the existing data. The third responsibility is to escalate incidents. As already stated, the first tier escalates incidents to the second tier. However, the escalation process for the second tier has more variables that must be factored. If the incident can be remediated by the second tier, then no escalation is required. You will still usually need to notify any relevant stakeholders about the incident and the outcome thereof. If, on the other hand, the incident cannot be remediated entirely by the second tier, it will be escalated to Tier 3. If additional information is needed, the incident may be escalated to the IT service center of the organization or a third-party IT service provider who will then attempt to acquire the requested information, for example, by contacting end users. Remediation actions are performed when it has been confirmed that an incident is a true positive, or when an incident has strong indicators of malicious activity. This responsibility weighs the most because the cybersecurity analyst has to decide whether remediation actions are required, and if so, what action should be taken. We have another video covering remediation actions exclusively, but to name a few: malware scans, password resets, user account disablement, and endpoint isolation. An added challenge is that different organizations have different types of IT environments. For a small retail store, isolating a production server may cause only minimal business disruptions, while for a hospital it could even be a matter of life and death. If, however, adequate remediation actions are not performed, or they are performed too late, the results could be equally bad. Moreover, the organization may suffer reputational damage, not to mention potential fines, sanctions, and litigation fees that may ensue. Although not all situations demand this level of mental fortitude, it is important that cybersecurity analysts take their role and responsibility seriously. It is not a game. That said, all of us make mistakes, and no one is without error. Even the brightest minds in our industry fail sometimes. Therefore, do not be weighed down by the responsibility. Be serious. But if you do make a mistake, as all of us do, learn from it. Do better next time. If there is one defining factor that sets apart a cybersecurity analyst from their peers, it is incident reporting. Lamentably, for most it is the least appealing part of the work. But consider this: no matter how well you have investigated an incident, if you cannot communicate it appropriately and comprehensively to various stakeholders, you will have performed your duties inadequately. As stated earlier, the first tier is responsible for writing a brief summary of the triage. If it does not provide sufficient information, the second tier will essentially have to redo the work in order to determine whether further analysis is required. This wasted time can prove costly if the incident is a true positive. In like manner, the second tier should provide a detailed report with sufficient information for the third tier to continue the investigation. Alternatively, if the incident can be remediated without escalating it further, the report will provide all the necessary information to the stakeholders of the organization regarding the incident that has occurred and the remediation actions that have been performed. Regardless of who the recipient is, the report provides direct value and is an attestation of the professionalism of the one who wrote it. Cybersecurity analysts who have excellent report writing skills are worth their weight in gold. If you want to learn how to write high-quality professional incident reports, I would recommend you take a few minutes to review our video dealing exclusively with report writing. The link is in the description. When certain benign objects, such as approved files or applications, are triggering unnecessary alerts, they can be filtered. Cybersecurity analysts typically make a note of these cases and make a formal request that alert prevention policies be applied. This is always subject to discretion and is often handled either by the third tier or by the development team. To learn more about the underlying purpose for alert prevention policies, please review our video dealing with that subject. The role of a cybersecurity analyst is one of great importance and responsibility. While the work can be highly rewarding, it also requires a great deal of patience when sifting through myriads of unnecessary alerts. As new threats emerge and threat actors are increasingly sophisticated, there is always something new to learn. All in all, the role of a cybersecurity analyst is an excellent way to begin your career. The ball is in your court.